Hi everyone, it's me Darlene, once again on my very old Growing Up Crazy channel. I didn't look to see when I started recording on that channel, but I know I had just a handful of videos, and I know that the last one, other than the one I just recorded before this one, was 5 years ago, a little more than 5 years ago. So I'm pretty sure that I started that channel 5 years ago because I didn't, like I said, upload too many videos. And I wanted to explain a little bit about that. I had started the channel just to have some awareness about narcissism, and in particular, in my case, because it's the only narcissistic relationship I have experience with, is being the daughter of a narcissistic mother. Now, in the past, did I maybe have some narcissistic boyfriends? I'm pretty sure yes, but I was very good at not staying with a relationship that, well, I shouldn't say that, because I tried to stay with relationships because I just was always told no one would want me, so I thought even a bad guy would be better than no guy. But I knew very quickly this isn't the person for me. So it was a love-hate thing. I didn't want to be with that person, but yet I wanted that person to want to be with me because I needed that validation that I was worthy of being loved, or at least liked. But yeah, that didn't work out well for me. No, so they were creeps, and I knew it. But I'm sure not all of them were narcissists. They just, didn't like me for whatever reason, and that's okay. But I did stay in not ideal relationships because I wanted a drinking buddy, or I wanted anybody who would pay attention to me, that kind of thing. But the real narcissistic relationship I have is with my mother, and that has been lifelong and continues to this point. So I had started that channel just to be able to get things off my chest, explain, to bring awareness to this, and then after a little while, like I said, I just stopped. I felt like I had said enough. I'm sure I was busy with other videos on my other channels, and I just didn't record anymore. And I did have comments on in those days, and I did get a lot of feedback that was very not helpful in any way, shape, or form. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, is it's called either just being dismissive, or the new term that I learned from Dr. Ramani. She's awesome. She doesn't allow linking to her channel, so I can't link to her, but it's Dr. Ramani. I think it's Ramani, something like that. Just look up Dr. Ramani narcissistic or something like that, and I'm sure you'll find her. She's really awesome. But there's a disclosure at the beginning of her videos that she doesn't want people linking to her. So I shan't do that because I respect that she doesn't want to be linked back to. The new term I learned was gaslighting by proxy. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then just general, people being dismissive, and it's why people don't share their experiences. And it's very much like that across the board for people who talk about something that happened in the past. Like the Me Too movement, for example. That's a really good example of people coming out with stories of, their life and what happened, and they're completely dismissed or flat out called liars, things like that. So it makes people not share things that happen to them because they don't want to get that kind of feedback. So that's one of the reasons that I also stopped recording. So let's start with being dismissive. I have a lot of first-hand experience with that right now because of all the different people coming in to help my mother. I'm very clear with them. Before I forget, I haven't watched any of the videos from 5 years ago, so just know that. And I was significantly heavier. That was before carnivore. So that's why I look different. I haven't looked at those. I don't want to relive what I said in those videos. I said them things. I know they're all true without me having to go watch them. And, I'm just starting fresh and clean on this channel with what I'm doing right now. Okay, so back to the dismissive. People come, nurses, aides, private pay people, and I try to explain right away how my mother is, because if they're around long enough, they will experience it firsthand. And or if my mother is throwing me under the bus, I want them to know that, and that's the hard one. It's, it almost sounds false if you come out and say, my mother might say really awful things about me, because it almost could sound like a lie. So that's one thing right there, is the fact that I am going to say something that I feel they're not going to believe makes me feel like they're just going to think I'm lying, and I don't need additional people in my life to think I'm lying, because I don't think my mother thinks I'm lying. She just likes to tell me that I'm a liar. She tells me I'm a liar all the time, and the irony of that is, I stopped lying to her as a teenager. Teenagers do lie to their parents. And it got to the point where she never believed anything. And, I wasn't a big liar because I didn't really have to lie. She didn't give a shit what I did, So, I even asked for permission to smoke at 12 years old, and she said yes. And I still see myself swinging on my swing in the backyard, smoking a cigarette, and then coming in the house and her just telling me, you looked so stupid doing that. So, she let me do all kinds of things. So I didn't really have much reason to lie. Anyway, but then things that were perfectly true, she wouldn't believe me. And I didn't like that feeling. So I just decided just always to tell the truth. And I do that to this day. Because I don't like it. It's very disrespectful to lie to somebody. And when somebody lies to me, if they're not a kid, that's it. The relationship, friendship, whatever, you're not even going to be my acquaintance after that. I just can't put up with it anymore. I no longer have toxic people in my life. I walk away from it. So I'm telling these people who are coming in that this is what you can expect. This is how my entire life has been. It's narcissistic personality disorder. This has nothing to do with my mother's age or dementia or anything like that. And after they listen, they're like, oh yeah, we understand. Yeah, we understand all that. But it could be dementia. She could have some dementia, and you just don't recognize that. And that is instantly dismissing what I said, because I always say it's not dementia, it's not Alzheimer's, not the way she's acting right now. This is typical, and that's, and I'm explaining that. Or they'll say, oh, it's so hard. It's because you're stressed. It's because you're stressed out and you're just taking things harder than you normally would. And it's like, again, did I not say this was lifelong? It's not because there's additional stress right now. It's I'm feeling the way I feel, and I'm explaining what I'm explaining because this is a lifelong thing. So those are the dismissive things. Also dismissive, very dismissive, is things like, hang in there, you've got this, or this will pass one day. Oh, here's a good one. The social worker completely lost my respect yesterday, because when I was in crisis mode here yesterday and was saying I absolutely need help placing her because this isn't good for either one of us the way things are going, and she said, just remember, this is temporary. The crisis is now. That's a dangerous thing. You don't know what could happen. Can you imagine if something horrible happened? I hit my breaking point. I mean, it's scary to even think that, but that's what happens in real life a lot of times. And I don't ever want that to happen. But can you imagine being told this is temporary? Very dismissive of what I just said, and this is to a social worker. Remember Andrea Yates? She was told to think happy thoughts by, I don't know if it was a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whatever. and she drowned her 5 children. You know what I mean? What a dismissive thing to say to someone. People don't take things seriously when people are asking for help. They just don't. They think it's on me, that I'm just overly stressed. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to calm you down, Darlene. You don't have to be crying over this. And if you have dealt with this all your life, then it's no different now. So you should be used to it, So that's dismissive. Now here's where it's gaslighting by proxy. First of all, gaslighting, I do believe it stems from the movie Gaslight, where Charles Boyer was trying to make Ingrid Bergman think she's crazy because she would, find or lose something and then find it someplace else, and things like that. And he would, always be telling her, oh, you don't know what you're doing. And so that's gaslighting. Because she used to see the gas lights go up or down or whatever, because he was in the room upstairs looking for something. And so she would ask, like the maid or whatever, did you just see that? No, ma'am, didn't see it, because they just didn't see it, so it was gaslighting. So gaslighting by proxy, I just learned, is when somebody else gaslights you and they have absolutely no idea that they're even doing it. They're not part of the picture. They're not the one that's out to make you nuts, but they are still gaslighting by saying certain things. Like, for instance, well, here's an example right within my family and with various family members. Not my son. My son gets all of this because he was raised in the same house. Saying something like, this was the kind of abuse I suffered as a child, and giving like specific examples, and somebody saying in the family, that never happened. They didn't have that. Hang on. I don't think I got to the call in time, so it might ring again, and I have the phone right here. So yeah, saying something and then somebody saying that didn't happen, or somebody saying, you probably imagined that. Somebody saying, well, darling, you were a drunk, so you don't really know. Maybe you're not thinking it, through the right way. Or, well, yeah, but it was your fault. Things like that. Now, that's also dismissive, but it's also gaslighting, because it's not just putting a Band-Aid where somebody who's being dismissive, really in their heart, they think they're being helpful. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. That's dismissive. Gaslighting is when you're pretty much flat out calling that person either a liar or that they've got it wrong. So you're still making that person feel like they're fucked up and they're crazy. I honestly have gone through such long periods before I understood narcissism where I thought for real that all my thoughts and memories had to be fake, because my mother, why would she tell me all the time that everything that I just said never happened? And that used to make me sick. And it's when I learned about narcissism, just by doing some research to find out why a certain ex-in-law acted the way they did, that's when I discovered what my mother was, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's not me, I'm not crazy. So that's why this channel is called Growing Up Crazy, because I really believed I was crazy, not only because my mother would say I never said that, it always made me feel like I didn't know anything that I was talking about, but because my mother would just tell me I was crazy. I mean, she would just come out and tell me, and would tell me that she brought me to doctors and they said I would never be well. I was a sick child. And she called me a sick child all my childhood, and now she calls me a sick woman. And she just did it the other day. I have it on recording. You're a sick woman. And she says it with such she's just so mean about it. And it's funny right now because I'm talking about it, and that's why I'm talking about it, because it gives me a chance to breathe. So this channel is going to be helpful to me for now, until it's not. But for now it's helpful, and because I'm having a hard time working to earn money, like by selling fabric and stuff, I have to amp up YouTube, and this channel is not monetized. I have enough subscribers, but not enough consistent watch time hours. So after a few videos, I should boost that up and be monetized again, and maybe that this channel can be an ongoing thing. even after my mother, just because I really would love to be able to explain to others what it's like, and not so much to validate those who are in a narcissistic relationship, but to educate those who are around people who are in a narcissistic relationship, and maybe help you to listen to that person and not be dismissive or accidentally gaslighting them by making them feel worse than they already do. All right, I'm a little thrown off because I had gotten that call, so I need to put my readers on and see who actually called, because it's probably important. And so I might have been jumping around through this video, but I wanted to just get that out, and I will be chatting with you as soon as I can, whenever I have a break. Right now my mother's sleeping, Derek is out, Skylar's in school, and I was like, okay, I'm going to jump on and do a video, and I feel good about it. And so that's a good thing. I have one good thing in this day so far. Also, the morning was not in a crisis mode, so I'm happy about that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more soon. Bye.